Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Astros potentially trading for Dylan Cease. This was something I didn't think I'd be talking about, but I'm doing it. There was a report about the Astros being interested in Dylan Cease as he is atop their list, according to Bleacher Report. It would definitely be interesting to see the Astros trade for Dylan Cease and bring him in. You know, I think that he's had a little bit of an off year this year, of course. Still a strikeout machine. Has picked up, has picked up a total of 153 strikeouts this year and, 22 starts. He's got 118 innings, but the ERA is high at 4.79, 3.47 ERA and 33 starts last year. So, he's had two monster seasons in the last four seasons, 2.20 ERA in 2022, 3.47 in 2024. But then you look at this year and even 2023, it just had, this year's just not been as good as 2024 was. He was in the Cy Young voting in 2024 at fourth place. He finished second place in 2022. And he's been solid this year, just has not been like that this year. What I will say is, but this would still be someone I'd love to see the Astros add in, because could you imagine saying Dylan Cease is your third best pitcher in the starting rotation, where you're pairing him next to Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez? But if I'm the Houston Astros, I'm not willing to pay up, a bunch of prospects for Dylan Cease. Like, there are multiple guys that need to be off limits in a Dylan Cease trade. Like Cam Smith, I don't think would be in talks anyways. But so we don't have to talk about Cam Smith because I don't think the Astros would even mention him in this deal. But I'd be worried about other guys like Bryce Matthews, Jacob Melton, Walker Janik are the top three right now. In my opinion, you do not give up a top three prospect for Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is a great pitcher. It's nothing against him, but he is an expiring contract. He has a 4.79 ERA this year. He's been good. The Astros definitely could turn him around, because how many times have they traded for starting pitchers and they turn them around? So I definitely think there should be a heavy price for Dylan Cease, but I don't think it should come out at the price of a top three prospect, in my opinion. Just because the fact that he's struggled this year and he's an expiring deal. The Astros made this mistake last year. They made the mistake last year of the Yusei Kikuchi trade. Yusei Kikuchi was a great addition for the Astros. I'm not saying it wasn't. And he was a perfect addition to be that third best starting pitcher next to Framber and Hunter. That's what Dylan Cease would be next to Hunter and Framber. But what was Yusei? What was the problem with Yusei? He was an expiring deal. That was the biggest problem. Honestly, I was watching the Orioles-Blue Jays trade today. I was watching the Orioles-Blue Jays game today, and Joey Loperfido was killing it. He had a home run. He was 3 for 4, and in a back-to-back sequence, Joey Loperfido hits a home run, and then Will Wagner hits single, and the broadcast starts talking about that Yusei trade. I just was thinking about it. I was like, man, was that a bad trade? Like, Joey Loperfido's really starting to figure out Will Wagner's solid. I don't look back and say Will Wagner, Jake Bloss, the Astros messed up on that part of the deal. No, like Will Wagner, not too worried about him. I don't look back on that part, or Jake Bloss. He's an injury machine. But where the Astros made a mistake was trading away Joey Loperfido in that Yusei Kikuchi trade. And I think that's, you don't want to overpay for a expiring deal that you don't know if you'll be able to re-sign. Because we know in the offseason the Astros wouldn't be able to re-sign both Dylan Cease or Framber Valdez if they traded for Dylan Cease. It would probably be one of Dylan Cease or Framber Valdez who would be re-signed by the Astros. You can't re-sign one of them. So if you trade for Dylan Cease, if you re-sign him, is it going to come at the cost of Framber? Or, if you trade for Dylan Cease and you want to re-sign Framber, I just don't see a world where you re-sign both of those guys if the Astros trade for Cease. So, look, I don't think the Astros need to give out a heavy asking price for Dylan Cease. He's a great pitcher. or not. I don't. I said give out a heavy asking price. I don't think they need to, you know, answer the demands of a high asking price by the Padres, is what I'm saying. And look, we're talking about a guy who's a 3-10 record this year. He's a great pitcher. He can turn things around with the Astros. He's 29 years old. Honestly, if there were multiple years left on his deal, if he wasn't a free agent going into this year and he had 2-3 years, if not longer, left on his deal, I would say give up the farm for him. He's 29 years old and has had 2 monster seasons in the last 4. But that's just not the case. He's going into free agency. So I think if you're the Astros, you can't go crazy in a deal with Dylan Cease, in my opinion. I think you've at least, okay, maybe Jacob Melton, I think Jacob Melton is a guy maybe you have to involve in the deal, potentially. But Bryce Matthews, Cam Smith, Walker Janik, those guys cannot be involved. Maybe Jacob Melton, Miguel Eula, and I don't know, Brendan Rodgers. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Like that would be solid. That'd be a solid deal for the Astros to potentially make. I don't know. Just throwing that one out there. Let me know your thoughts on the Astros potentially trading for Dylan Cease in the comment section at Peace out, go Astros.